Right, Land Rover Discovery Sport. Stop, start, stop. All that stuff. What's going on? Well, Kate's Discovery Sport, it doesn't do the stop start. Now, in one way, some people say it's all a bit annoying, that stop start. Just about, the lights are about to change. You stop the engine, it's got to restart and all that. But it doesn't work on Kate's car. There's no error messages come up at all. It just doesn't work. It doesn't say stop start not available. The lights are on but no one's in. Isn't that right, Kate? Yeah. She switches on the eco stuff and everything. So let's just have a little look at it. Now, I don't quite know what we're going to do in this video, but we do have a new battery, BMS battery management system. We'll have a look at that. We'll talk about how much that costs. We'll talk about resetting it. When you change your battery, you're supposed to reset the battery management system. We'll talk about what it does, but first of all, let's have a look at the battery. So we'll put the voltmeter on the battery. So let me get this right, which terminal is which. The positive is nearer, even though this lead looks like he's heading to the other one, it curls back round. So this is the positive terminal, and then this is the negative terminal, and we have got 12.37 volts, which is, it's not too bad really. It could be a bit higher, but not shocking. It should have enough to have stop start. Now, I've been reading the manual. I don't do that often, but it's interesting. It says if you're jump starting a car or charging a car, do not connect directly to the battery terminal here. Connect either here, or it says there's a dedicated point, Kate. Maybe on that nut there you're supposed to use, because if you connect directly here, any charge going in, the battery management system doesn't charge. I'm going to look like I've wet myself, Kate. Look, that's a good look, that is. We'll leave that in. Right, so we've got a low voltage. First thing we're going to do, let's have a look at this BMS. What is it and what does it cost? Come this way. Here it is. This is the part number for it. Fresh in the box. Let's have a look. Bam, that is it. So let's have a look. What does it do? So obviously we've got the clamp system here. It forms the battery clamp. And what you'll notice is it goes into this copper connector here. And it actually passes through this device onto this here. And you'll notice that that is all insulated. So it doesn't go directly to this pin. This pin is monitoring what comes through here from the battery. So it can see all the ins and outs. So obviously this is the earth, but it can see everything that's coming in and out of the battery, because what goes out the negative has got to have come from the positive, etc. So this can see everything, whether it's charging, discharging. It can see the whole shebang. It's got two pins. One is a 12-volt battery feed and the other is a LIN bus. So this communicates on the single wire LIN bus. It obviously gets its negative from its own terminal and the positive there. So it's an active device, and it looks, all it can really look at is current and voltage. It can see current and voltage. That's all it can see. But it's got some maps in it apparently, and it can see how much current is going in and out, and it can compare those, and it reports all that back to the mothership through the LIN bus. The mothership being the body control module. So that's what it is. What was the list price on this about, Kate? £60 plus VAT, no, that's including VAT. So there's actually a lot of trickery. Now we are going to install a similar thing on the Defender because we've got battery drain problems, and you can actually buy your own battery management system that links to your phone, and you can see it's the same concept. You put your battery, this goes to the system and this goes to the battery. So your battery comes on here, it goes through here, and it can see what's happening. And we're going to install one of those, and that works on Bluetooth. Right, let's get in the car. So we have plugged the IID tool in the ODB2 port down there, and we are going to look on our phone, and we're going to open it up, and we're going to look at what fault code. So this is Kate's car, and we've read the faults. Now there's some random faults, okay, but nothing connected with the body control module. So it's quite strange. The stop start is not working. There's no faults come on the dash. When we turn it on, everything looks good. The stop start, auto stop start light is, can I turn that off? Yeah. Turn it off, turn it on. It doesn't say it's not available. There's no fault code stored. Oh gosh, it's binging now.
It's because the door's open.
It's because the door's open. I'll upset it. Right, but one thing we can do here is we can actually, if you've got an IID tool, you can go to the service and test menu, and we can go into the body control module, and we can do a battery replacement. And that basically says, tell it it's got a new battery. And if you change the battery, you should do this. Now, it's quite interesting why you should do it. I've never sort of worried too much about it when we swap batteries around. But what it can do is, if it knows your battery's of a certain condition, it can reduce the amount the alternator's charging when you're accelerating, for example. And then when you're going downhill and decelerating, it can use maximum charge. So it can actually improve your fuel efficiency if the battery management system is correctly set up, which is cool and good. But you've got to go and buy a IID tool or have the genuine stuff to do that. So we wondered what happens if we just spent 60 quid and put a new BMS on Kate's car. Now, when you put a new one on, it's kind of virginal. It has to learn all the algorithms itself. It's just been spawned into the world and it knows nothing. So will it teach itself and look at the battery? Now, in one way, it's not a good idea because it's kind of an environmental waste just buying a new BMS. But in another way, it might be a good thing. And you've got a new one anyway. So we are going to first, before we try messing around with any algorithms, we are going to put a new BMS on and see how to do that and see what it does. We'll probably have to take it for a drive to learn it. And maybe we'll let Kate drive it for a day and then we'll see. Then we'll come back and we'll pick up and see whether telling it it's got a new battery with the tool, whether that works. Right, so let's go and have a look at changing the BMS. Right, so this is what we're physically changing. So we are going to undo the battery terminal here, take it off, and then it looks like we've just got to undo this nut here, which will release everything, which will be the one at the back there. So let's have a go. Let's see if we can do this. Okay, so the first nut you want to undo is going to be this back one here. You want to loosen this because this is really tight. These two we don't need to undo. These will just lift off and we can leave those connected. So we're going to loosen this one, and then we're going to disconnect the battery. So I just want to loosen this one first. So it'll be quite tight. There you go. We've already loosened it, but there was some. Right, and with that loose, so that's a 13mm socket. We can get the 10mm socket, loosen the battery. Now, you don't have to worry about radio codes or anything like that on the Discovery Sport. Everything will be fine. Right, give that a wriggle. There you go. All right. Put something underneath to stop it touching again. Right, and then what we can do is loosen that back nut now. Right, careful not to drop it. It's not. Okay, right, put that somewhere safe-ish. Right, and then we can lift off that one. Okay, again, you don't want that touching the earth terminal. Make sure we've got the earth terminal covered. And then the BMS drops out from underneath it. Now we've got the one connector on the BMS. We've got to push down on that back tab there and squeeze that down. And that should release that. So there we go. So there's the old one. So let's just check the new one and the old one. Now, it did say that if people like jump start or connect to the negative terminal, it can damage the battery monitoring system. So maybe they do break. I've got no idea, but we're going to put this on and it'll be able to see everything coming in and out. So let's just get that right. So let's put the connector on first. Yeah, that's all clicked on. Right, and then let's put this one went on next, didn't it? Yeah. Now, is there any location? I think it all hides underneath it. So and then we can put this one on top. Now there is a location here. You got that little lug that goes over the end, stops it all rotating. Put the nut back on. Now, one point to note is there is not a second battery. On many vehicles, you have a second battery for the stop-start, but on the Discovery Sport, apparently, as I'm reading, there isn't. So, so yeah, you won't be looking for a stop-start battery it's all governed off this one. Right then. Right, okay. Right, and then we're ready to retrieve our rack, put this back on, and then let's see what it does. It's just going to be all waking up new to the world. Now, it shouldn't need any coding to the vehicle, I don't think. All right, then, let's see what happens. All right, let's see what it says. Right, first of all, does it power up? It powers up, so we haven't broken too much. Right, does it start? It starts. We've got the lights are on. We've got no more error lights than we had before. It's not telling us that the BMS needs calibrating or setting up. So it would appear to be okay. Let's just plug the IID tool in and check that there are no errors come just by swapping the BMS over. Right, so let's go. We've plugged the IID tool back in. Let's go faults, and let's how do I reread the faults? Because this is just showing me the faults.
Refresh at the bottom.
Refresh. Okay. So it's reading the faults. So hopefully we'll get the same faults as before, which we'll clear in a minute. So we've got audio system, all-wheel drive, gateway, ventilation. So we've got nothing from the body control module. But let me just clear all those faults for Kate. So I think some of them seem just sporadic. So right, so we've cleared all the faults. Let's ignition cycle it again, and then I guess we've got to get Kate to drive it to see whether it now behaves itself and thinks so. And the way we've done it, you should be able to do this yourself by just changing your BMS. So that's all good. Ignition cycle. Okay, let's just refresh it again. So you've still got your audio system and your interactive display fault, which I think are just random. Not too worried about those. The other faults are gone. Right, so we'll leave it with you, Kate. You drive it and then tell us, has that fixed anything? But certainly we haven't broken anything, which is always good. Right, let's put your battery cover back on. Right, we're in the Discovery Sport now. Kate drove it home last night and said it worked perfectly, the stop-start works. So we're going to give it a little demo now. So we just go backward and all rocking. Them just pull forward, I guess, as if we're pulling up to some traffic lights. Let's see if I can see the RPM needle. All right. Okay, just wait there at the lights.
No, it's not quick enough.
It's not quick enough?
No.
You got to be going a bit faster, you reckon?
I reckon.
Right, go out this day. Alright, we put our seatbelts on as well. So maybe it thinks when you're manoeuvring it won't do it. Maybe you've got to hit like 30 or something. Don't go racing on the industrial estate. Right, let's pretend we're at a junction now. Yep, there you go. Stop and start it again as we move the clutch. Perfect. So that's all good. One thing Kate did say has gone wrong in disconnecting the battery. The electric windows have gone a bit that the auto up doesn't work. Yeah, you see the second position doesn't work. So we'll do another video on how to reset that. But everything else is good. So it does say in the manual that if you use the battery earth terminal to jump start the vehicle or to put the charger on, it can damage the BMS. So it may be that the BMS was damaged. So in summary, if your stop start doesn't work and your battery is good, you could just try putting the new BMS on. I don't think it'll do any harm, and you don't need to code it. Look, it stopped again. You don't need to do any coding, so it could be cheaper than taking it to the dealer. I think it's worth a go. Let us know how you get on. Put your comments and everything below as normal. Excellent. Good luck with that.